This video is sponsored by Skillshare.
What's up guys? Thanks for hanging out with me today. Today's video is all about you, answering your leathercraft questions. And I'm excited to do this video because I don't have much time to go through all my comments on YouTube and answer questions. So I apologize for that. Thanks for your patience. Hopefully this video will help you out where I can answer some of your questions. By the way, these questions are in no particular order. I just kind of randomly took them from my YouTube comments. So here we go. Okay, question number one, and it's from Trisha Osborne. She says, I love your company name. May I ask what the inspiration was for it? My company name obviously is Little King Goods. And to tell you the truth, it's very simple. My name in Scottish means Little King. I'm not Scottish, but I just looked up the name and the origin of my name, and it was pretty much it. I wasn't settled on the name at first. I talked to my wife about it. She wasn't really, too excited about it, but after a while, the name just grew on me, and I just started to see, my brand happen with that name, Little King. The hard thing is that with a brand name and all that stuff, you're gonna be sticking with it for a long time, hopefully, right? So picking that name is hard. But yeah, Little King Goods, Ryan. That's all it is. Number two, what kind of leather do you use and where do you usually get it? I use two types of tannages. I use chrome tanned and I use vegetable tanned leather. Basically, they're two different processes of curing the leather. I've got a video about that, how to choose leather. You can check that out. But yeah, those are the two types of leather I use. And there's two places that I get them from, and that's Acadia for my chrome tan stuff, and then Wicket and Craig for all of my vegetable tanned stuff. So check them out, links in the description. Hopefully it'll guide you to the right place. What was the solution inside the needle bottle? So in those small little needle bottles, I use a burnishing agent called Tokonol. And Tokonol is my go-to burnishing agent. It is the very best. I will not use anything else. It is just 100% me. I love it. It's Tokonol. All right, next question. Is Tokonol good for burnishing as well as gluing pieces together? I've noticed that it gets tacky really quick. How can I avoid that? Well, Tokonol is only used for burnishing. So you can burnish edges of stuff, you could burnish the flesh side of leather. So to make that, fuzzy leather really nice and smooth, you can use it for that by using a glass slicker on that. You don't use it for glue. What has happened in the past and where people get kind of confused is that I've used an old Tokonol container and I've put glue in there. So I get a question about that all the time. I am not using Tokonol as glue. I'm just using it as a glue container. So you've been warned. May I know what size of pricking irons you use? I use 4mm spacing between the teeth with the pricking irons I use. And the pricking irons I use are Cinnabrox, and they are amazing. I've been using them for a long time now. Jen is a good friend of mine, and they work well for my style. There's different types of pricking irons, a whole bunch of different types of shapes and outcomes that come with those shapes. But for me, Cinnabrox pricking irons, the 10 tooth and the 2 tooth. Simple. Beautiful video and work. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Daniel. If you don't mind, what kind of paint marker for leather edges do you use? So if I had $1 for every single time someone asked me this, I would be able to retire a long time ago. Wish that was the case, but never mind, here we go. I use a Montana acrylic marker, which I happen to have right here. I've taken the label off because I've gotten dye all over it. But anyway, so I use this thing. And it's a refillable marker, and it is perfect for doing edges of belts, wallets, bags, everything. I use this tool probably the most out of anything that I own. I fill it with Fiebing's dye, which is a very, very runny dye. It's like an alcohol-based dye, which really, really works well inside of this marker tip. So, a Montana acrylic marker, the empty one. Buy them empty. Don't buy whatever they're selling to you. You buy Fiebing's dye, put it in there, and you're good to go. If you guys want to send $1, every one of you who asked that question to me, feel free. Support us on Patreon. There you go. Okay, next question. Where do you get the needle applicator bottle? So that little bottle that I keep Tokonol in there, I get them from District Leather Supply. Again, I'll link it in the description below, but I find them very useful, especially for Tokonol, because you can get that precise placement where you want to put Tokonol on. And it saves you from putting your finger inside the jar and getting your fingers all messed up. And it's just more accurate. So, District Leather. Seems like an interesting hobby to take up. Is it hard to get into? Is it expensive? Well, Kyle, it's a very interesting hobby to get into, and that's what happened to me. So I was not always in leathercraft. I actually got into leathercraft because I was a professional photographer and I needed a camera strap. So instead of buying a camera strap, I wanted to make my own. So it was a hobby at first. But then Little King Goods happened, and that is a long story. Is it expensive? It can get expensive, but it depends on really what you're looking to get out of the hobby. If it's just a hobby, spend money just on a cheap starter kit from Amazon or something like that, and then work your way up to the tools that you really feel like you want to put money into. I've got a video on that. I'll link it in the description, or I'll put a card somewhere up here, and you can check that out for yourself. With a very inexpensive kit, you can still make things. So, all right, this next one is not a question, but it is definitely something that I want to talk to you about. So, the Whiz Dad, owning a crafting business is 10% crafting and 90% managing a business. You could not be more right. The crafting part of a business is very enjoyable, and I really like that. And that is probably the smallest part of owning a business, a leathercraft business. And honestly, the 90% of the other part, the other side of the leathercraft business that's the tough part. That's the part that will make or break you as a leathercraft brand. It's not the crafting process. That part is very, I'm not gonna say simple, but compared to learning how to do the business side of it, that's where you're going to be able to go full-time or not. It's how good you are on the business side of things. Okay, we just finished talking about the business side of things, and I think it's the perfect time to talk about this video's sponsor, and that is Skillshare. When it comes down to doing things for your business, whether it be photography, illustration, creative writing, entrepreneurial skills, it is so important to surround yourself with an incredible creative community. And with Skillshare, you get exactly that. Skillshare is an online learning community that has thousands of classes for creative and curious people. Whether you want to learn a new skill or are just curious about a new topic, Skillshare is the perfect place to be. In this day and age, it's so easy to feel discouraged and isolated. But with the Skillshare community, you are part of something much bigger. One class that really caught my attention is called Filmmaking from Home, Turn Found Footage into Compelling Video by Penny Lane. I think the idea of creating something from old video footage is exciting and really pushes your imagination and creativity to the next level. Penny does a fantastic job of inspiring you to think outside the box. It's a really fun class and something I'd never even considered taking, but curiosity got the best of me. One of the best things about Skillshare is that it is incredibly affordable. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month, and to me, that's an absolute no-brainer. Since Skillshare is sponsoring this video, the first 1,000 subscribers to click the link in the description below will get a 2 free-month trial of premium Skillshare. So if you like to explore new skills, deepen existing passions, or get lost in creativity, Skillshare is the place to be. What you find just might inspire you, and it could change your life. Okay guys, let's get back to those questions. All right. What thread do you use for sewing on a sewing machine? I use bonded nylon, and it's size 92. That was easy. I like those questions. Do you think you'll ever create a leather jacket? No. Next question. How long did it take you to learn leathercraft? I am still learning every single day. If you're not learning or challenging yourself every single day to become a better crafter or a better business person, then you're really not doing it right. You gotta always be kind of pushing yourself to get better, to learn how to deal with certain situations that arise on the business side, but also learn how to make things better, more efficient, more just functional, you know, your designs, all this stuff. I'm always learning, but for the most part, I've been learning for 4 years. All right, this is a question I get quite often. This is by David Carroll. It says, great vid, but be honest, do you make a living from sponsorship and YouTube or leather goods? And that's a really good question. So here's the long and the short of it. Before I was a leather crafter, I was into making films and photography, and I did a whole bunch of things. I was also an electrician. I've done a lot of things over my lifetime, but I really fell in love with photography and videography. So the YouTube side of things was kind of always there, but just it didn't blossom yet, didn't bloom yet. I found that the YouTube part and the leathercraft part just came together so naturally for me. And so YouTube is a huge part of my business. What's happening right now is a huge part of my business. The way that I show how to make my stuff on YouTube attracts customers to my website. Also, sponsorships within YouTube help immensely. Affiliate links, they help immensely. So this whole thing, this YouTube thing and everything that surrounds YouTube, and also my leathercraft business, it's one big business under my corporation that I own. So yeah, I make a living from everything. Multiple revenue streams is key, especially if you're an entrepreneur. If you're a business owner, or someone like me where you work for yourself, multiple revenue streams are a huge and almost a must, in my opinion. Good question. Dominic C asks, hey, could you share what kind of glue do you use for gluing leather? So I use 2 different companies for glue. For the longest time, I've been using the Eco Weld from Tandy, the stuff that's made in Italy. There's 2 Eco Welds from Tandy, so be careful. It's not the cheaper one, it's the more expensive one that I use, and it's great. I've never had a problem with it, and I've been using it for like 4 years. I've just started trying another glue. District Leather sells it. It's called Aquilum 315. And it's good. I still haven't tested it enough, so I can't give you my honest opinion on it, but yeah, those 2 glues, Aquilum 315 from District and Eco Weld from Tandy, the more expensive one. What is the name of the paper that's stuck to the skin for engraving? So this is talking about, I just acquired a new laser cutter printer from GLOWFORGE. And so when I do cut leather with the laser, it leaves a burn mark if you don't mask it with something. So I just use a very thick masking tape. So this is it. This is the masking tape I used. It's a very, very wide masking tape. And I just put that on there so that when the laser cuts through the leather, it doesn't leave burn marks. Got it? Good. I've been wanting to try leathercraft. May I ask what type of leather sealant or varnish, I'm guessing, to protect leather from wear and scratches? So yeah, I trust the one and only Smith's Leather Balm. Hold fast, live slow. What a great slogan. So yeah, Smith's Leather Balm, best protector, all natural. It's not gonna be toxic for your hands. And it removes a lot of those scratches, and it restores dry leather, and it's just a great product. I can't recommend it enough. Smith's Leather Balm. Just wanted to ask about the edge beveler. Which size of Palo Santo edge beveler do I use? So yeah, if you don't already know, I use Palo Santo tools, and their edge bevelers, they've been amazing. The steel that they use, it lasts forever. It keeps very sharp for a very long time. If you properly strop them, you're gonna keep those bevelers for a very long time. And I use number 2. I mostly use number 2, and I have a number 1. And they come from 0 all the way to 3. I'm probably gonna pick up a 3 soon because I just love their product and their tools are awesome. So I have the same Juki. Can you tell me where to acquire an edge guide attachment? I get all of my drop-down edge guide attachments from a place called Q-Tech Sewing Machines. Very reasonable, and it works well. Link in the description. I'll show you where. Okay guys, I think that's it. If you like this video, if you like this type of video where I kind of answer some of your questions, leave it in the comments below and ask me more questions in the comments below, and then I'll know if you liked it or not, and if this is any help to you. That's it from me. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're keeping safe. I hope you're enjoying time with your family. I know some of the restrictions from COVID have been lifted, and so now we can kind of, hang out a little bit more. Be safe and happy crafting. And again, thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, guys, peace.